Trong. I'm the lead content coordinator here at Supply Pike. And then we also have the wonderful Eric Smith, who is the director of product, and he's going to be talking us through Deductions Navigator today. I'm really excited to do this session with you, Eric.
Yeah, excited to get going.
Yeah, and if you're jumping on now, we've had a couple more sessions this morning, and we'll continue to have sessions after our lunch break today. But if you are not familiar with us, we are Supply Pike. We create cloud-based tools that help minimize revenue loss with CPG companies. And actually today we're talking about our Deductions Navigator solution that helps fight retailer deductions in 4 different retailers. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So Deductions Navigator, we're going to go at a high level here, just kind of give you the meat and potatoes of the points, and then we'll actually have Eric walk us through a demo of the product. So Eric, do you want to start on anything here?
Yeah. At a high level, Deductions Navigator exists, like Ali said, to help suppliers manage retail deductions. So what we strive to do is we take this world that, if you guys were part of the short shipping deductions webinar a little bit ago, this world where there are all these different types of deductions at all of your retail customers, and some of the basic logic is the same, but the actual application of how do I fight this or how do I fix this, it looks different at every retailer. We want to give you a platform that is clean, easy to use, gives you perfect visibility into what's happening, and helps eliminate some of the mystery of what goes on and the nuance between retailers, and automates a lot of the process, whether that be aggregating proof documentation or disputing deductions for you, giving you a streamlined solution so that you can manage your deductions, not be managed by your deductions.
I love that. And the slide that I'm most excited for in here, besides the demo, is this one here that kind of outlines where we're going with Deductions Navigator and the different retailers that we're going to be in.
Yeah, so this past year really at Supply Pike has been an exciting time for us. When we launched our Deductions Navigator solution back in 2019, we launched with Walmart. Those of you in supplier world who sell into Walmart know that Walmart is certainly can be a bear when it comes to deductions. And we're located here in Northwest Arkansas, so right by Walmart home office, and it was a natural place for us to start. But what we continually hear from our customers is we have problems not just with Walmart, but with Target and Kroger and Amazon, and it looks a little bit different at all of these. And can you help in the same way? And so that's what 2022 has looked like for us. We've launched solutions for Kroger and Target, and Amazon is launching essentially as we speak. We've already got suppliers utilizing an Amazon solution. So coverage of 4 of the largest retailers in the United States, supported through our Deductions Navigator platform.
And that is so exciting. Wow, what a busy year your team has had.
Yeah, we've got some rock stars who have been going after it this year and doing a really great job.
Yeah, no doubt. And with that, let's kind of dive into what the actual product looks like. I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen, and then you can go ahead and get with the product, popping that online.
All righty. Well, yeah, excited to walk through this with you guys today. I'm going to do my best to wrap up with some time for questions as well. And I know Ali will be monitoring the questions. So as we're going through this, if something's not clear, by all means, use that Q&A function and throw a question in there. We'll be happy to answer it, either in the middle of the demo when we're in that section, or at the end. Like I said, I'll leave some time there. But diving in, Ali, just double checking. Can y'all see my screen?
We can see your screen, and I'll be monitoring the Q&A if anyone has any questions, and I'll pop in.
Perfect. Well, yeah, what we're looking at, this is our Deductions Navigator platform. So within the Supply Pike ecosystem. And first things first, like I said a minute ago, our goal here is to give you a unified look and feel to manage your deductions across a variety of retailers. So what I'm going to demo with today, this is based on mocked Walmart data. But if you're using Supply Pike for Target or for Kroger or Amazon, the look and feel is going to be the same. But what we've done is we've baked in that nuance and those sort of unique attributes of each retailer into the platform. And so if, for example, say Walmart, you need to dispute deductions in this format by line item, we have built our software to accommodate that. And maybe it looks different at Kroger, then we'll submit disputes as Kroger expects them. Again, the goal at the end of the day is to help you be most effective in your deduction management. So looking at Walmart data today, so some of the terminology you'll see and that I'll use will be Walmart based, but same look and feel regardless of the retailer that you're working with within SupplyPike. So beyond that, the other thing I like to talk about at the beginning is how, kind of at a high level, how SupplyPike works. Where's this data coming from? How are we stitching this together? One of my favorite things about SupplyPike and what I think we do really uniquely well is the onboarding time to get up and running with SupplyPike is literally just days. It's not weeks, it's not months, it's not quarters. To get going with SupplyPike is a very, very painless process. And so the way that we work is suppliers simply authenticate different accounts for where their data lives, be it a retailer account or freight carriers, your warehouse systems. Simply authenticating those accounts, just like you would do for an app like Mint for budgeting, where you authenticate your bank account or something like that. Authenticating those accounts, and then we go out and we retrieve the data from those. We have pre-built integrations with different, whether it's warehouse systems or retailer systems, with over 60 different freight carriers. We've got pre-built integrations, and we go out and retrieve that data. So depending on the size and the volume, that might take between a few hours and a few days to backfill that information. But with SupplyPike, you can be up and running so quickly, and it's not a painful integration process that takes weeks of time working with your IT team. We're retrieving that information like purchase order data, invoice data, check data, deductions data, shipment data, your freight documents like bills of lading and POD. We're collecting all of that and we're aggregating it in the platform where it's all easy to view, it's all contextualized, and you can take action on it. So at a high level, that's how we work. That's how this software is being populated with information. But diving into the app itself, what you'll see on our homepage for Deductions Navigator is a dashboard. And this, oftentimes people are like, okay, it's a dashboard. That's kind of what we would expect for a homepage. What I love about this is for just about every retailer you deal with, this type of dashboard doesn't exist anywhere. Most teams, before they use SupplyPike, have somebody on their team, be it an analyst or someone in the accounts receivable team maybe, who tries to put this information together weekly or monthly so that you can actually get a picture of how your business is performing and how deductions are affecting your business. With SupplyPike, you get that out of the box. And so at a glance, you can see for a given time period, total deductions that have been received, what have been acted upon and what haven't, how much has been paid back, what your success rate looks like disputing deductions, as well as a breakdown for the deductions that you've disputed, where they fall in that retailer's dispute process. So not only do we pull in data about what was deducted, and not only do we help you dispute those deductions automatically, but we also track those and can show you over time where they fall. So here's how much is still out there open, not disputed yet. Here's what's been disputed. Here's what's been approved and paid back, denied, so on and so forth. So again, one-stop shop to get information at a glance of kind of where you stand. Other high-level information is things like summaries of deductions by reason codes. So we're looking at some Walmart reason codes here, and you can see both in terms of volume and dollar amount of how those deductions are affecting your business. So this account that we're looking at is based on real but anonymized data. And so this is really common for a Walmart supplier, where these codes 25, 22, 24 are happening really frequently and costing a good bit of money. And if you guys attended our short shipping webinar about 30 minutes ago, we talked through all of those codes in a little bit of detail. But say you're still not familiar with what some of these codes mean, within SupplyPike, you can always quickly jump into our knowledge base, where we give really detailed information on different codes, different processes, best practices. So not only is this intelligence baked into the platform itself, but you can access content and written materials to give even further clarity on what's going on. But could keep going. The dashboard is lots of high-level insights, breakdowns of how deductions are affecting your business. But really, the underlying data powering that dashboard is where the power of Deductions Navigator lies. So not only are we giving you summary information, but we're pulling detailed, down to the line item level information on all of your deductions. So I can see at a glance insights at a high level, and I can dive into specific deductions and understand exactly what happened. So for anyone who's familiar with dealing with deductions at a retailer, they know that to get a clear picture of what happened, there's more to the story than just seeing that backup information from the retailer or the claim document, that sort of thing. So that's why, like I said, we pull not just that, but also info related to the PO, to the invoice, to what was shipped, to what was received, shipping documents, things like that. And we stitch it all together in a single view. So rather than going into 4 different systems to hunt down information and trying to stitch it together and understand what was I looking at in this app over here, it's all here together for you at a glance. So here on the left-hand side of this deduction, this code 22 that we're looking at, I see a lot of that information stitched together. I love that we show check lines, and we'll show you a chronological view of every time this invoice has appeared on a check. So not just here's where the invoice was paid or here's where a deduction was taken, but maybe it was paid back. We show you that. Maybe it was paid back and then deducted again. Every deduction kind of has a unique story like that. And anyone who's ever sort of dug through payment remittances, trying to understand what happened, knows the pain of trying to put that story together. So we give that to you at a glance.
Hey, Eric, I had a quick question
Yeah.
in the chat. How are PODs collected and stored from different carriers? And does that happen in the Deductions Navigator app?
Yeah, great question. So if I'm not mistaken, I think the previous 30-minute segment was Carter talking about our Document Explorer solution. So SupplyPike out of the box has we're well over 60 now integrations with some of the most common freight carriers, third-party logistics companies, just different ways that freight is moved. We also have some really powerful solutions for suppliers who fulfill their own shipments and ship collect. So they just have shipping documents internally. So we can tie into whatever carriers you're using or however you're storing shipping information like PODs or BOLs internally and access those documents. And we're then able to basically scan or read those documents using some custom built OCR technology to understand this document or these pages of this document are related to this order, which is related to this deduction. So for this short shipping deduction, like we're looking at here, we've already matched a bill of lading related to this deduction because we know that it was a collect shipment. So not only are we stitching together the data to tell the story, but we're pulling together the proof documentation as well. I like to say whenever you're fighting an invalid deduction, you're essentially going to court and you've got to prove your case. SupplyPike arms you with all of that information to prove your case.
Lovely. Thank you for answering that question, Eric.
Yeah. So that's a quick dive, really deep to start with to understand what kind of information that we pull. But another thing that I love is so many times AR teams or transportation teams who are troubleshooting, they need to ask questions of why are these deductions occurring, and oftentimes to be able to do that, you need this data easily accessible. So within SupplyPike, not only do we show you all your deductions, but we give you really powerful filters and search and sorting so that you can start to ask pretty deep questions of your data right within the application. So I could filter this down and say, I only want to look at short shipping related codes. And I'm interested in ones that have not been disputed. And I'm particularly interested in a specific item number. So I could search for a specific item number or UPC. And really, I'm interested in ones that are identified as invalid deductions, or maybe SupplyPike has said that this is most likely invalid or this is probably valid. So you can filter down to multiple levels. And now you can start to ask questions of the data like, hey, I know we made a packaging change for this item back in March. What did our deductions, short shipping deductions, look like pre-March and post-March? Like, did that packaging change improve the number of invalid short shipping deductions that we received? If you guys were in our short shipping webinar a minute ago, you'll know that one of the most common things that you can do to try to improve or reduce the number of invalid short shipping deductions is to make sure your cases are, identifiable one item versus the other. So say you took our advice, you made that change, you're putting different color packing tape on different types of item boxes, and you want to track and see are our deductions actually going down. With a couple of clicks, you can easily do that. And of course, this is your data, so SupplyPike makes it really easy to export even more detail. I think there's something like 30 columns or more on that export to do further analysis as well. But maybe the most exciting part of Deductions Navigator is how we automate the dispute process. So we've pulled in all your data, we've pulled in your proof documentation. We've, like in this example, we've looked at what was invoiced and we've looked at what you shipped and said that those two match. So you should not have gotten a short shipping deduction. So we think this one's likely invalid. Now you've got to dispute it. And with different retailers, that process, it looks different, and it's different portals and different best practices to be successful. And SupplyPike automates that process for you. So there's a few ways that we do that, whether it's with a single click, like with this deduction, I could just click the submit dispute button. SupplyPike would submit that dispute to, in this case, it's Walmart. So it would be submitted to their accounts payable dispute portal. And that happens with the click of a button. No going back and forth between systems, no uploading documents, none of that. It happens automatically. SupplyPike also lets you do that in bulk. So I could do up to 100 of these in one click, where I can just submit my disputes. If I'd filtered for ones, say, that were invalid and had the documentation they need, I can select 100 and submit those over. So that's usually at least 10 to 15 minutes of work if you're trying to do one of these by hand. That's 100 of them in one click. And even cooler than that, you can go full automation as well with SupplyPike. So we know a lot of teams are hesitant to give up total control of their disputing process. And so we give you the one-click dispute option, we give you the bulk dispute option, but with auto dispute, we give you control over that as well. So you can configure how our auto dispute works. You can specify specific codes that you do or do not want auto disputed, and you can specify the criteria that determine when something gets auto disputed. So I only want you to auto dispute code 22s if it's identified as definitely invalid, like the retailer system shows that it was received in full. We'll dispute those automatically for you. Or if you want ones where it's a very high likelihood but not certainly invalid, we can auto dispute those for you as well. So we still give teams a lot of control, even over the full automation and how it functions. I'm going to pause right there because I've been talking a lot to see, Allie, if any questions have come up.
No questions. I'm going to save one to the end. I'm processing to make sure that it is on this particular product. We're doing some follow-up, but other than that, keep going. This is great stuff.
Cool. So we've talked about how SupplyPike pulls your data, how we organize it, help you derive insights from the data, which is going to help you root cause valid issues. So you can work with your teams to fix those issues upstream. Then we've talked about how SupplyPike helps you automate the actual dispute submission process. So when you have a backlog of 500 deductions, you can dispute those with a click of a button rather than hours and hours and hours of your team's work. The last thing I'll talk about is what happens after we submit disputes for you. So SupplyPike submits disputes exactly as retailers expect them to be submitted, so following all the standard processes. And we track those disputes, so we can see when the retailer either asks questions or when they approve them or deny them. So within SupplyPike, we'll show you not just what was deducted, not just what was disputed, but also what was approved. So for any of these deductions, you can track and see when it was approved. You can see information related to the history of that dispute, the dates that things happened, and when it was actually paid back. So with most retailers, there's a short gap between when a dispute is approved. And basically, they agree that it was an invalid deduction and they will pay it back. But you want to make sure you actually got paid back. And so SupplyPike tracks that as well. And we'll show you when a deduction was paid back and the remittance that payment appeared on. So full circle, being able to see, not just what happened, not just disputing invalid ones, but also seeing when we've closed the loop and actually gotten repaid. So some really exciting functionality there for AR teams and individuals at suppliers who are focused on helping their business manage their deductions, not be managed by their deductions, both identifying root cause of valid issues and programmatically fighting invalid issues.
Hey Eric, I had my own question. If I'm disputing across a couple different retailers, let's say I'm in Target, I'm in Amazon, I'm in Walmart, and I'm in Kroger, and I signed up for Deductions Navigator, I'm going to use the product. How am I going to see all of those? Is it going to mix the different retailers? Is it like 4 different signups? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. So within SupplyPike, your SupplyPike account is your SupplyPike account. So it's all within that SupplyPike ecosystem. What I didn't show is here on the top right corner, if you had multiple retailer accounts within SupplyPike, you'd have a little switcher right here where you could jump from, say, your Walmart business, like we're looking at here, into your Kroger business or your Target business. So you can jump between retailers in that way. SupplyPike keeps that data segmented, so to speak, because most teams work deductions on a retailer by retailer basis, understandably, because every retailer, it's a different line of business for you, it's a different process for the retailer. So we keep those separated. It also allows you to set up permissions within your company to say, so-and-so has access to Walmart business, so-and-so has access to our Amazon business.
Perfect. Okay, that's super helpful and very, very easy to use. We have another question. Does Deductions Navigator flag when a deduction is paid? And then if so, part B is, let's say, Walmart comes back and says, nope, actually we are gonna deduct that again and it's rededucted. Does Deductions Navigator flag both of those scenarios?
We do. So I think we had walked through, here's an example of a deduction that was approved for $297 and has been paid back, has a little paid icon on it. So we can see the check that this payment appeared on. So yeah, we're tracking that whole process. Say that it was deducted again. So we can, in this example, pull up the check lines like I was talking about. I can see the first 3 check lines down here is where the original invoice payment was taken or was given. It was paid for $1,700. $300 was deducted for a code 22. And then we fought that code 22. And a week later, on November the 25th, that $300 was repaid. So here's that positive payback for a code 22. So we can track all the way through that payment and we'll flag it that way. Say that this was rededucted, Walmart changed their mind, comes back again, maybe with a different code even. We know retailers do that from time to time. That would also be available in SupplyPike. So we would show that as a new deduction. Say they deducted it back again as a code 15, for example. That code 15 deduction would still appear here. But say, I searched for that invoice number, all deductions related to that invoice would be shown here. And if I was viewing a specific deduction like that older one, I would be able to see the newer deduction also related on the claim. So I could see that there's more of a story here.
Perfect. That's super helpful. I love that it just kind of follows those breadcrumbs. Another question kind of similar to the first one I asked about, if we're in different retailers, what if we want to be in different apps in SupplyPike's different solutions? So let's say I'm in Deductions Navigator right now, and now I want to hop over to Document Explorer. What does that look like?
Yeah, within SupplyPike, you can jump between solutions in the left-hand navigation here. So if you wanted to jump into your OTIF and dive deep into your OTIF business, you can simply do that by clicking on the OTIF Radar application or Document Explorer. You could jump over there. So I know what a lot of suppliers oftentimes will do is they're looking at, say, this short shipping deduction. And maybe it's been a month or two and they're curious, hey, did this PO also show up on a OTIF fine for being short? You could quickly jump into OTIF Radar and see the story of that purchase order as it relates to your OTIF impact as well.
That's awesome. Super helpful. And then we have I'm bouncing back to the question we asked before, kind of a follow up to that. So From what I understood, you said like, let's say on check, whatever, I got a code 22, it was paid back, great. But then they assigned me, let's just say like a code 10, like a pricing
Mhm.
issue. It's going to be essentially all filed under that check number. And you're going to kind of have that breadcrumb trail of what's been deducted and repaid all within that one unit, like you were showing before.
Exactly. So say I wanted to view those kind of breadcrumbs, like you said, these check lines here. These will show you everywhere that that invoice appeared on a payment remittance. So, whether it was a code 22 deduction or a code 10 deduction or the original invoice payment or whatever it may be, that
Mhm.
whole story would be visible here. Another thing that I really love is our search function works for check numbers as well. So if I wanted to search for a check number and see all my deductions from that check, I could quickly pull a complete list of that as well.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for reviewing that. We got a couple more questions here, and then we will take a break for lunch. Um, can I upload my own documents to Document Explorer if I find more backup for a purchase order?
Yeah, great question. So SupplyPike automatically is pulling a lot of documentation for you, like we talked about. So in this example, here's a bill of lading that we've already automatically attached. We also pull purchase order data, invoice data, copy of the claim. Since this is Walmart, this is a copy of their claim notification, which is taking a second to load, but is this guy right here. So we've pulled all that together for you, but let's say you have a packing list that you want to attach that we weren't able to retrieve from your carrier, so to speak. You can always upload your own documentation as well. So yeah, I want to upload another type of document, I can do that from here. So yeah, easy to upload your documentation. You can also upload in bulk. So if you wanted to filter for, say, everything related to a specific invoice or PO number or whatever, and upload the same document to multiple, you can do that as well.
Oh, that's so nice. I hate having to upload things like 50 different times. So that's a great function. And then we've got one last question, or maybe we'll squeeze in a couple more. They keep rolling in. So specific to Target, when you're shipping to a consolidator, in terms of the documents, do you know what types of delivery receipts we're gonna get? So would it be final destination, or would it be the receipt to the consolidator?
Yeah, great question. The answer to that, unfortunately, is it depends, right? And this is kind of the case for Target, but other retailers as well. When you're shipping to a consolidator, it depends on what you are able to give us access to retrieve shipping documents. If we're pulling your bills of lading from your own warehouse, usually that's the BOL covering the shipment, obviously, from your warehouse to the consolidator. We wouldn't have visibility for the consolidator to the retailer. If you're working with a consolidator that, say, you have an account with or a portal that you can access, where you're able to then pull the POD from when they ship to the retailer, we should be able to tie into that as well and pull those PODs. So usually the rule of thumb that I like to give people when it relates to our shipping document integrations is if your team has a method for pulling this document manually, we have a method for doing it programmatically. If the documents don't exist, unfortunately, we can't conjure them up. But as long as they exist, we should have a method for being able to retrieve them.
Can we work on that for Halloween? Can we get, like a
Yeah.
conjuring documents? I would love that.
Let me talk to Carter and see what his team can do.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, I know we're at time. I've got one last question that I want to answer. Can Deductions Navigator pull EDI POs?
That's a great question. So today, Deductions Navigator is not pulling EDI data in the sense that it's raw EDI from your EDI provider. The way we typically get information that is normally transmitted through EDI is from another system that's hooked into EDI. So for this example, we have purchase order data and invoice data that we attach here. This PO data is transmitted through EDI. We're retrieving it from your Walmart account. So we have the information, we're not consuming raw EDI. So What that means is, going all the way back to the beginning, our setup times are super fast. We don't have to work with your IT team. We don't have to work with your EDI provider. Nobody wants to touch that, EDI setup with a 10-foot pole. So teams are really happy to not have to do that. But we're able to get the same information much more quickly and in a lot more seamless method.
Thanks for that. That's super helpful. And I did want to just say, as we're kind of ending this session, if you're interested in this solution, we actually have a free trial. And if you go back to that dashboard, that'd be super helpful. Yes, we can connect your data, like you said, Eric, basically the day of, in a couple of days. And you can just take a quick look in our free trial, see what you've got going on. And if you want to dispute through us, that's great. We can help you with that. If not, if you have no deductions, honestly, we'd love to give you a pat on the back and just say congrats, because that's awesome. But it's always just helpful to know. I love having more knowledge at my disposal than less. But thanks for walking through this, Eric. This has been so great. I've learned a ton. I'm learning a lot on all of these. And I'm going to go ahead and share the deck so we can dismiss for lunch. Can't wait to hear what everyone's having for lunch. We'll be back in an hour. You can use this. Well, first off, we'll go ahead and just say these are our emails if you want to contact us. We'll also have Eric at the, I believe it's a 3 p.m. session for office hours. So go sign up for that if you have more questions about deductions, and we'll put you in the hot seat, Eric, once again to answer our questions about deductions on multiple retailers. You can also find our website, supplypike.com, if you want to sign up or learn more about our products or access our free resources. And with that, I bid everyone adieu for lunch. We're going to have, I think, Chipotle. So we want to hear what you have for lunch when we come back at 1 p.m. Central Time for the afternoon sessions. Thank you so much, Eric. And thank you all for joining us. We will see you back here at 1.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.